day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
And welcome back to 8-Bit Barbarian. This is Carmen with the very first episode of M-Bosses. And since I just did the Street Fighter 2 Quick Play, I figured, you know what? Why not have the first episode feature the man himself, the notorious M-Boss of Street Fighter 2, M. Bison. And I gotta say that throughout all of the different versions and iterations of Street Fighter that I've played over the years, M. Bison is probably his hardest and his most difficult to fight here in this first version of Street Fighter 2. I understand, like, as you go on through, like, all the different Street Fighter versions, you know, Super Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter 2 Unleaded, regular Unleaded, Super Unleaded, and fucking Street Fighter 2 Diesel, and everything else in between. I understand that they implemented combo systems and super combos and ultra combos and fucking, you know, like, supersized combos through McDonald's. But that was all combos, and as I learned, like, say, in the Alpha series, Bison actually, you know, you start to get the patterns down. You can see when he's just about to unleash with his, you know, psycho combo or what have you. But I felt like in this game here, Street Fighter 2, he had really no pattern. It was just M. Bison doing whatever the fuck he wanted. It was just like he was defying the laws and the rules of his own video game. And I don't know, just in my opinion, having grown up in the 8-bit and 16-bit era, 80s and 90s, it felt to me like these games were programmed with attitudes. Like, these games were programmed to be fucking dickheads. I don't get that sense playing games of this current generation, or even games of, like, the last couple generations. I feel like games were at their hardest, you know, in the 80s and 90s. And when I used to play this game here, you know, getting my ass kicked numerous times by M. Bison, as I was just starting to learn Street Fighter 2 as a kid, I always imagined that the programmer of this game, just sitting at his desk, fucking, like, you know, laughing maniacally at this kid who's just struggling so hard and getting his ass beat by M. Bison. And it used to really piss me off to the point that I wanted to, like, seek out this unnamed programmer and stomp a mud hole in his ass. You know, and be that as it may, I also had a quick temper as a kid. I got pissed off at games if they started kicking my ass on a regular basis. I would throw my controllers across the room, against the floor, beat the shit out of them out of frustration. One year, my mom got me the Super Advantage pad for the SNES, which, to those who aren't in the know, is this big hulking monstrosity of a controller. It's actually like an arcade controller, joystick, all the different buttons and turbo modes, very solidly constructed. The plastic was very tough. I had a metal base plate, very heavy. I think it was heavier than the SNES itself, and I think it was as big, if not a little bit bigger. And I believe at the time it was about a $50-$60 controller, which, you know, it was as much as a video game back then. And my mom actually bought it for me the year it came out, either for Christmas or for my birthday. I can't exactly remember which. But I remember, you know what? I remember saying to myself, you know what? I kick this game's ass every week at the arcade. Now I finally got the arcade set up at home, so it's time to just, like, go balls to the wall and just completely stomp out M. Bison. But unfortunately, M. Bison, you know, this badass from Thailand, was not having it. He just kept decimating me every time I beat him. And I got so pissed off to the point to where I actually took that extremely expensive controller and hurled it across the room after yanking it out of my SNES, and it hit the wall, shattered, and because of the immense girth and just mass of this controller, how solidly it was constructed, it put a hole in my wall. So I got in trouble twice, once for breaking the controller, and secondly for breaking the wall. That's how much M. Bison pissed me off as a kid. Luckily, I'm a little more even-tempered now as an adult. And even though Bison's been kicking my ass here the last few minutes, I think I'm really starting to kind of get my focus now. And I think I can do this, you know, inside of the next few minutes. As a kid, sometimes it would take me straight on an hour of Bison just beating the guts out of me before I would finally, you know, just hand him his ass. And it was always like by a move or two. It was always by the skin of my nuts. And you know, luckily I think I'm doing a little bit better now than I was as a kid. Like I said, it's been a couple years since I actually played the original version. Okay, I walked right into the fucking flaming, you know, torpedo of doom there, but I think I got his number. I think I can wrap it up in this third round here, so... it says battle 19. It's because Sagat was kicking my ass a little bit earlier. I'd forgotten that every time you jump in the air, he hits you with a tiger uppercut, worse than fucking, you know, Ken with the Shoryukens on his stage. But luckily I just pulled it out here, and I established dominance in this last round, let me tell you. So here we are at the very end of the game. Here comes Eliza. Ken! Oh, Eliza, what are you doing here, in Thailand of all places? I came here to find you, Ken, so we can be together again, in Thailand. Oh, and they're finally gonna get married. I mean, looks like she's kind of already, you know, dressed for a wedding, but he's just wearing his same smelly ass like gi that he was wearing to fight everyone else. Whatever. I mean, hey, you know, it's Ken. Ken Masters can do whatever the fuck he wants. Well, anyway, this has been the first episode of M-Bosses. Click like, subscribe, leave a comment if you'd like to see me play anything else. Thanks for watching, guys.